You're listening to IELTS and OET exam coaching with Kev, the English native, helping you get the scores you need in high-stakes English exams.
Hello, it's Kevin here, and in today's episode I'm going to talk about AI and how it can be used, particularly for language learners, English, and of course if you're taking the OET, Occupational English Test for healthcare professionals, you might find this interesting. So I'm not reviewing AI as entertainment, I'm reviewing it as training. So which tools are training tools and which are just chat? So I've been reading many books on AI in recent weeks, and I've been doing lots of courses. I did the Microsoft course, I did the Google course for generative AI for learners, blah blah blah. If you check out my profile on LinkedIn, you'll see I've taken quite a few. And I've been doing lots of reading as well, all these books about AI in education, AI in this and this and that. Quite a lot, too many to mention here. Now, I was reading a very interesting book, and I haven't finished it yet. It's about AI and how it pertains to religion, Christianity in particular. There's an interesting chapter about what I will call companion bots. So these are things like Character AI, Replika, Nomi, Kindroid, Paradot, Anima, Chai, Talkie, etc. Now, you may have read some stories in the press last year about these so-called character AIs, where in the case of Replika, you can train it to be a particular person. You can feed it, text, give it conversations that you had, and make it into a person. Well, a character in any case. The same with Character.ai. You can choose from different characters, and the object of the exercise is to be one special entity to you. So they are pretending to be people, not assistants like Chat or Grok or Copilot or Gemini, etc., where they are just LLMs, large language models, acting as assistants. I use Chat, Grok and Copilot every day, helping my students, etc., for both OET, IELTS, any exam for their writing and speaking. I've made many videos and, well, not many, some videos and podcasts about how you can use it. I won't repeat myself there. You can check those out, links below, etc. So a tool counts as training, right? Only if it does these three things. If it forces output, if it makes you speak, not type, if it gives delayed feedback, it gives you your errors, upgrades your language, and it doesn't interrupt you. If it forces you to redo it, to repeat the same scenario using the upgrades, if it can't do 2 or 3, it's not training. So let's take a look at Character AI first, language AI apps, and then general AI. So Character AI first. So the pros, they make students talk more, they lower anxiety. There was one called Wobot, which deactivated itself last year, I think in June, for some reason. That was acting like an online psychiatrist. Apparently, people are more likely to open up to AI rather than to a person. So you've got all these bots like Character, Replika, Nomi, etc. And what they do, they give the illusion of connection. Because of the issues with children and teens, all these bots now have a strict age limitation. Though, as I found out yesterday when I was doing my research, Character AI simply asks you to enter your date of birth. So obviously, if you're a teen, you can get straight back onto it. So all these companion bots that pretend to be people, the obvious danger they come is that they give you the illusion of connection. They're not assistants, they pretend to be people. So now, that's good. Well, good in one extent. It makes you talk. You can talk to them like you were talking to a friend. It can lower anxiety, but it doesn't give correction, or it gives very weak correction. So it's good for minutes for speaking to get your practice, but that's about all. It's not really good for language development or OET or IELTS, etc. I would keep away from these character AI so-called companion bots. There's lots of potential issues. You can do your own research, but I would keep away. There's some possible benefits of these companion bots for the elderly. If they're lonely, on people who are socially isolated. But the issue is they could become emotionally and psychologically dependent on the characters, and that's not healthy. So I'll say no more about that. Now, language AI apps. There are many. There's Duolingo, Speak.com, Elsa Speak, Memrise, Practica, TalkPal, Andy English. There's quite a few. I identified about 12. So, what these are good for? Now, they all have different uses. Most of them are good for general fluency and pronunciation, such as Duolingo Max, Speak.com. Elsa Speak is good, but that's mainly for American English. Practica, Practika. Now, this is particularly interesting because it has avatars. So, like as a teacher, when we're helping people with pronunciation, often the learner has to relearn how to use their lips, mouth, teeth, and tongue. So they use me or another teacher as a model. I can show them, put your tongue here, open your mouth wider, etc. So for Practica, it's got avatars that demonstrate this. You can see the movement of the mouth. Now, I would prefer to use a real person or teacher myself, but I can see why some people might be interested. Another one which I found was quite interesting is called Bold Voice. Now, this is not entirely the same as the drama pedagogy, which I have spoken about and written about in the past. So this is like American voice coaches. So it's kind of like actors. They hire a voice coach to work with them in developing an accent for a film or a TV show. So apparently it works in a similar way. Looks quite interesting. So I identified, about 12 or 13 of these. So there's TalkPal.ai, Andy English Bot, Learner.ai, Fluently, Hallo, Hallo. You can do your own research. Just go into chat and ask it, give me some language bots. Now, the main advantage over tutors, I have to say, is they are cheaper. That's what you get, but don't forget, these are not intelligent. They're not people. They can give you some corrections for grammar and vocab. Pronunciation, they can do to an extent, but don't forget, they don't have ears. They can't hear you. They are trained in certain ways. I won't go into all the different ins and outs. I actually spent nearly the entire day yesterday talking this over with my own artificial friend, which is Grok. I found that was a lot easier and quicker than me searching and registering for all these different applications. So Grok told me some very interesting things. So main advantages, right? They are cheap. Most of these are subscriptions between $10 to $15. Maybe I think the top end is $30 a month. And that gives you unlimited anytime access. Anytime. So if you wake up in the middle of a night, obviously I'm in bed, you want to practice, you've got your language bots. So that's it. They are cheap, or a lot cheaper than tutors, especially, I mean, me on iTalki, I'm not expensive in by any means, but still, I cannot compete with the prices here. $15 a month, anytime access, unlimited use, but obviously the disadvantage, they're not real. Now for some people that might be good because they have anxiety about speaking to real people, but if you're going to be taking any exam such as IELTS or OET, any of the Cambridge ones, you're going to be speaking to a real person, a real examiner or interlocutor. So you can see, if you get used to using these language apps or bots, you can see that may be a problem. So they've got structured practice, they give you specific feedback, but they are behind paywalls, they are scripted, and sometimes the realism is not there. So that's one thing. Now, on to general AI. Now, lots of my students use ChatGPT. Now, I've made a video or two about this. Again, you can check them out, where I wrote a master prompt and I put it into Chat, into Copilot, into Grok to see how it actually works. Now, it's not who's the smartest, who's the best. It's Chat, Copilot, Grok, who stays in the role of a patient, who follows the tasks, and who gives usable OET feedback. I'll just stick to OET. I haven't tried it for IELTS or other exams yet because there's various issues with the scripted nature of OET speaking versus IELTS, etc. So you can use them, and I say if you have a master prompt. So right, just in case you don't know or you haven't seen, I've got a podcast on Spotify for OET. So I take OET role plays from OET.com. I rewrite them for copyright reasons, of course, but I keep the scenario. So using text to speech, I use AI to make audio exemplars. Okay, so you can use those for pronunciation, shadowing, and copying, kind of like bold the voice, voice coaching. It's the same idea, but also there's a transcript matched or mapped to the clinical communication criteria. So you can listen to the audio, shadow and copy that, and in a separate video and podcast episode on my other channel, also on Spotify, I talk about how you can use the transcript as an actual script, drop it into AI, and it'll read the patient's lines like an actor, and you can train, that's the drama pedagogy, in that way. The third stage, again, a separate video and episode, check them out. I talk about how you can drop in a roleplay card. And I think that Chat works best, though it does work with Copilot and Grok. Again, I've spoken about the vagaries, the similarities, the differences between Chat, Copilot, Grok. I would use Chat myself for reasons which I've mentioned in the past. So you can drop the roleplay card in and Chat will act as a patient. It won't go off script. It'll stick to right. It's not scripted as in verbatim line for line, which is what the second stage is, where it reads it like an actor. It doesn't do that. But what it will do, it'll stick within the parameters of the task and act like a patient. So it's not scripted. So you don't know exactly what chat is going to say. You know in very general terms, because it's following a series of tasks on a role play card, but you don't know precisely what it's going to say. So I think that is better. So, like I say, AI, like it or not, it's here to stay, and it's constantly changing as I see every single day. And well, I won't talk about the employment aspects, the theological aspects, or anything else in this current episode. Now, so if you want entertainment, right, you go to the character bots, the companion bots. They'll pretend to be Adolf. Well, I don't know if they pretend to be Adolf Hitler, but they'll pretend to be Abraham Lincoln or Obama, and they'll talk to you in the persona of that character. You can create your own, and they'll talk to you. That's for entertainment and just general practice. Okay. If you want specific language practice, you go to the language bots, the ones I've mentioned: Duolingo, Learner, Bold Voice, Elsa Speak, Practica, etc. But if you really want to work on specifics such as OET, again, I haven't tried it for IELTS yet because there's some issues with the difference in the questions, you know. But for OET, I would certainly use the method I've outlined in previous videos and episodes and use chat. And if you do that, and most of my italki OET students, they use the methodology which I've just explained in previous episodes, and it does work. So that's all I've got to say for today. It's how long is this episode? It's 17 minutes, right? That's enough. So I hope that gives you some ideas. So you've got your companion bots, okay, good for general practice, fluency, but beware of the dangers of making an emotional connection with something that is not actually real. Second one, specific language bots that are a lot cheaper than us teachers, but don't forget they're not human. If you want the human connection, you've got to come and find a teacher. And then, as I said, general AI, such as Chat, Grok, Copilot, when you can't get hold of us or me on italki, they will help to a certain extent. So I always recommend a mixture of Chat or Grok, or, and a real human teacher, because there's things that we can do that we know that these bots just cannot do. They're not intelligent. They're not human. They don't hear you. They transcribe your speech into text, analyze the text using their LLM, and predict what words should follow. They have no idea of context or nuance or subtlety, emotion. They're just reading the text, predicting what should come after that, and that's all. So they're useful for some things, but really the human element trumps it every time. So hope that helps. I'll see you in the next episode.
That was IELTS and OET exam coaching with the English Native. Kev Dean. Find out more at theenglishnative.com.